Okay. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa afdalu salati wa atammu taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma alimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa zidna ilman wa 'amalan mutaqabbalan ya arhamar rahimin. Oh Allah, teach us what benefit us. Increase us in knowledge, in good morals, and in good deeds, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We continue by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings in explaining منظومة المقدمة فيما يجب على قارئ القرآن أن يعلمه من نظم إمام الحفاظ وحجة القراء محمد بن علي بن يوسف بن الجزري رحمه الله تعالى. And we reached, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings, section 4 or section 5, and inshallah we'll do our best today to finish section 5. So again, the first section was the introduction, then makharij and sifat, and then the section of tajweed, and then this section which is باب في أحكام مختلفة أو أحكام متفرقة. I like to call it باب الترقيق because most of the lines in this section is about tarqiq and paying attention to the letters of tarqiq. Let's see you, Ya Sheikh Mustafa. How are you? So we finished line 37 and 38, but there's some quick points I'm gonna add, inshallah, to those lines before we move to the next line. So he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, وَبَاءَ بَرْقٍ بَاطِلٍ بِهِمْ بِذِي وَحْرِصْ عَلَى الشِّدَّةِ وَالْجَهْرِ الَّذِي فِيهَا وَفِي الْجِيمِ كَحُبِّ الصَّبْرِ رَبَوَةٍ اجْتُثَّتْ وَحَجِّ الْفَجْرِ. وَبَاءَ بَرْقٍ, so also make tarqiq for the ba, particularly when there is a heavy letter after it, like in these cases. برق باطل باطل, there's no heavy letter right after it, but it comes after the alif, and people tend to make it heavy, to make the ba heavy here, as we do in Syria. So we have to pay attention to this and say باطل or باطلة or بطلة, all of them the same thing, بطلة. Now بهم بذي, these the ba'at here, people don't make them heavy usually. Maybe some people, Imam ibn Jazir heard some people making them heavy, bidhi, bihim, maybe, but here he's focusing more on the shidda and the jahr that the ba has also. Because if we abandon the shidda of the ba, that will make it weak. Okay, so the ba has shidda, which is the cutting off of the sound, and has jahr, which is voicedness, means the breath doesn't flow with it. Okay, so that makes it a strong letter. If we don't do that, that will make the ba weak, as some people read Bismillah. See, when they do the ba, Bismillah, 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 they're not making the tahqiq of the makhraj. So it should be what? Bismillahi, Bismillahi, right? Not like Bismillahi, what? No. Bismillahi, right? Bismillahi. Also, leaving or abandoning or not applying the jahr will make it mahmusa, right? It will become like the P in English, right? So we also don't do that. We don't say pismil, no. Bismi, right? So this is in regard with the ba. Also, another example, for example here, ما لهم بذلك, ما لهم بذا. Some people might not give the ba its right here. ما لهم بذا. So show the ba well. ما لهم بذا, right? And of course here in the akhta shafai we have to close the lips normally. أعلم بهم, same thing. أعلم بهم, show the ba. Not أعلم بهم, أعلم بهم, أعلم بهم. No, close the lips well and give it its shidda, and it is jahr. أعلم بهم بثلاثة, same. Okay. فعززنا بثالث. فعززنا بثالث. فإذا نزل بساحتهم. نزل بساحتهم. Okay. إحسانا وبذل. وبذل. Okay. So as we mentioned in the last class, we have to also be careful about the shidda and the jahr for all of the shadid letters. For all of the shadid letters, not only the ba and the jim, not only the ba and the jim, all of the shadid letters, ajid, fatin, bakat, all of them we have to pay attention to their shidda. Okay, we'll come to that, but let me show you before we move on some of the videos from Sheikh Ayman's lesson also about this thing. So here, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So let's start with the ba. The first one, al-ba al-mushaddada al-maftuha. Let's see the ba with shadda and with fatha. The ba that has shadda and has fatha. So the shidda means the sound is being cut off, right? And the vocal cords are moving and shaking when we do the this letter. Ab, ab. I want you to focus here on the picture or on the video and see how the sound here, you see, this is how the sound is cut off because the makhraj is completely closed, right? You see there, right? The makhraj is completely closed. And then when we leave now with the fatha, what will happen? Look how the lips, this is ba mushaddada maftuha. Look how the lips are moving and opening wide. And you will see now the difference when we do the ba sakina. The ba sakina will be different. So this is, we can read with the video. Abba, abba, hubbi, or abba, abba. That's ba mushaddada maftuha. Now let's see the next one. The sakina muqalqala. Look how the lips here, they're not opened wide. They're just bounced. And that's very important to avoid the mistake that many people do, which is they open a little bit more. For example, they say kasab, kasab, ba, as if they're making part of the fatha, and that is not right. So see how the lips just bounced and not opened wide, right? That is the ba sakina with qalqala, of course. Let's see the jim now. Look at the jim. Again, we mentioned the jim, particularly in Syria. I know many people, even I have my daughter, I don't know why she makes this. The jim, they make it rikhu. So they say, for example, aj, aj, you see, they let the sound flow while it should be cut off. Aj, aj, right? Look how the middle part of the tongue. I'm not catching that moment. Bismillah. This is the ba. Okay, so the jim, here's the jim. You can see when it's touching the roof of the mouth, right? The middle of the tongue touching the roof of the mouth. That's how the jim is. If you don't touch the roof of the mouth, this means you're not making it shadid. You're making it rikhu. Bismillah. Exactly here. You see how the jim, The tongue is the middle part of the tongue touching the gum, touching the roof of the mouth. And then, so that is shidda, right? That is shidda. The sound is imprisoned behind the tongue, and the vocal cords will be shaken. And then we bounce it. So this is when it is bounced, the sound comes out. So that is jim, muqalqala. Ij, aj, ij, uj, right? Okay. What else? So these arrows, they represent the sound. As we will see later, inshallah, today, that he will use the like white smoke to represent what? To represent the breath or the hums. Okay. Now here is the jim. Here is the jim. Al-jim al-rikhwa. Al-ghayr fasiha. As some people do in Syria, for example, they say ija, ija, yaj, yajtabi, yaj. That's wrong. And this is what they do. This is why I asked you last time, how do you correct this mistake for those students? You just tell them, touch the roof of the mouth with the middle part of your tongue. So as you can see how the sound is flowing, and that's not right. So that's not shidda, that's rakhawa, right? That is rakhawa, and that is not right. So you can see the difference between these two. See how the jim here is, the makhraj is blocked. Okay, so that is, bismillah, that is about the jim. Now, as we mentioned, وَحْرِصْ عَلَى الشِّدَّةِ وَالْجَهْرِ الَّذِي فِيهَا وَفِي الْجِيمِ كَحُبِّ الصَّبْرِ رَبْوَةِ نِجْتُثَّةُ وَحَجِّ الْفَجْرِ. It's not only the jim and the ba, they are not the only letters who have shidda and jahr, right? What else? What else has shidda and jahr? Ya Hana. What else has shidda and jahr? Yalla guys, unmute your video, unmute your sound, unmute your mic so that I make sure you're following. What is Ya Hana? What are the letters that have also shidda and jahr, other than the hamza, other than the ba and the jim? Can you hear me? I cannot hear you. Brother Imran, do you know?
No.
I cannot hear you there as well. I cannot hear you either. Speak now, please.
Can you hear me?
Why I have a problem with the sound. Bismillah. Try now.
Yes, Sheikh.
SubhanAllah. I have the sound here. Why? Bismillah.
Can you hear me?
Try now.
Yes, can you hear me?
I don't know why I cannot hear. Let me try the. Yeah, now I can hear you. Bismillah.
Yes.
Because of the, okay. So, yalla, bismillah. So what is the, do you know the shadid and the majhur letters other than ba and jim? Any idea?
No.
Hana. What are the shadid and majhur letters other than ba and jim?
Not sure.
مين معنا sister علي؟
نعم. أجد قط بكت.
أجد قط بكت.
نعم.
أجد قطن بكت is اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. أجد قطن بكت. These are the شديد. تمام. Among them there are some جهر and همس letters.
صح.
So what are the همس letters among them? كاف and تاء.
صح.
تمام. كاف and تاء. So what do we have left? أجد. Right.
نعم. الهمزة.
قطن and the باء. أجد قطن and the باء. Right.
نعم. الهمزة منهن. نعم.
تمام. الهمزة والجيم والدال والقاف والطاء. So these are شديد and مجهور. These are شديد and مجهور. We have to pay attention to them. So let's start with the hamza. So we have أجد, hamza with the jim, we got it. أجد, dal, qatin, and the ba. The hamza is شديد and مجهور. مجهور means there's no breath with it. And we have to pay attention to it. So we say, for example, إلا من شاء. شاء. And we talked about all of these before. When we talked about the makharij and the sifat, we explained that in detail. The dal, there's a common mistake. We also explained that before. Some people don't make it shadid, and they don't make it majhur. They make it mahmus instead. They say ti, yawmid ti, yawmid ti, yawmid ti, ti. They mix it with some breath. It might sound like a ta. Okay, so we have to touch the gum well. Yawmiddin, yawmiddi, di. Okay, yawmiddin. The qaf, same thing, and the ta, same thing. For example, iq. Some people make hams for the qaf. Iqtaraba, iq. No. It has to be majhur, means no hams. Iqtaraba. Same thing with the ta. We don't say fata, ta. We don't make a breath with it. It should be majhur. Fatala, fatala. Okay. And we explained all that in the Makharij and Sifat section. Now, of course, some you might not do some of these mistakes. Maybe you don't have any of these mistakes, but you have to know all of them so that when the students are reading, you are aware and you know what's the mistake, you know what the mistake is, and you know how to fix that mistake as well. Okay, Bismillah. So now we move to we move now to line 39. So here we have also another part, which is the jim, aywa, the qaf. So look, for example, about the qaf. Look at the qaf that is majhura and the qaf that is mahmusa. The qaf that is majhura on the right. See how? That's the qaf that is majhura. You see, brother? This is the one that is majhura. The mahmusa, look, the one on the left, look how they let the breath with it. This white smoke, that's the breath. So that is the wrong qaf. That is the wrong qaf. Okay, now we move to line 39. وَبَيِّنًا. So as we mentioned, the first line, he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, فَرَقِّقًا مُسْتَفِلًا مِنْ أَحْرُفِي. فَرَقِّقًا مُسْتَفِلًا مِنْ أَحْرُفِي. وحاذرا تفخيم لفظ الألف. فرققا مستفلا من أحرفي وحاذرا تفخيم لفظ الألف وهمز الحمد أعوذ اهدنا الله ثم لام لله لنا وعلى الله اللام ثم لام لله لنا. Then what does he say? وليتلطف وعلى الله ولض والميم من مخمصة ومن مرض. Then he said what? وباء برق باطل بهم بذي وحرص على الشدة والجهر الذي فيها وفي الجيم كحب الصبر ربوة اجتثت وحج الفجر. Then he says وبينا مقلقلا إن سكنا وإن يكن في الوقف كان أبينا. This is the second last line. Then he says وسين وحاء حصحص أحط الحق وسين مستقيم يسطو يسطو وسين مستقيم يسطو يسطو. Okay. These are the last two lines in this section. We'll try inshallah our best to finish them today. The first line وبينا مقلقلا إن سكنا.
وبينا مقلقلا إن سكن وإن يكن في الوقف كان أبينا. Let's look at this line. Another way to read this line is وبينا مقلقلا إن سكن. وبينا مقلقلا إن سكن. Look here. مقلقلا, the qaf has fatha and it has kasra as well. This means what? There are two ways to read it. وبينا مقلقلا إن سكن or وبينا مقلقلا إن سكن. وإن يكن في الوقف كان أبينا. وإن يكن في الوقف كان أبينا. Okay. بينا. What does بينا mean يا هنا?
Make clear.
Make it clear. Very good. But that should be بين. Why he said بينا? What is this noon? Anyone knows? Please unmute your audio and you can answer right away if you know, so that we save the time. What is the why he said بينا? What's the difference between بينا and بين? The verb is بين, which means make clear. He said بينا.
نون التوكيد.
نون التوكيد. What is that نون التوكيد? Is it الخفيفة أم الثقيلة? That's الخفيفة. Yeah, الخفيفة because it has سكون. Otherwise he would have said وبينن, right? So this is نون التوكيد الخفيفة. They call it the light noon of emphasis. The light noon of emphasis. So the verb originally, brothers and sisters, is here is بينا. بين. Okay? So he added a noon. He made it بينا to put more emphasis and to fit the rhythm of the line. وبينا. So means you. He's addressing you, the reader of the Quran. بينا. Make sure to make it clear. What? مقلقلا. Let's take the first way, the first narration. As we mentioned before, sometimes poets and scholars, they write a line and then they find there's a better word or another meaning. So they narrate it or they rephrase it in another way. And if you write poetry, you might know this. Sometimes I write some poetry and I forget which one I made. So I tell someone or I tell my wife and then it differs. So this is how more than one narration sometimes for the same text comes to us or reach us, right? The first meaning or the first way here, وَبَيِّنًا مُقَلْقَلًا, which means what here? مُقَلْقَلًا means حرفًا مُقَلْقَلًا, means a letter that has qalqala. So make sure to clarify and to make it clear the letter that has qalqala, مُقَلْقَلًا. Okay? In sakana, if it has sukoon, because the qalqala letters, they should not have qalqala, and you cannot even apply qalqala to them if they don't have sukoon. So he said in sakana. He should have said in sakana with the noon like this, as you can see here on the screen, in sakana, just with a noon without an alif. But why he said sakana? This is called aliful itlaq, alif of release, means he released the fatha and he generated an alif. And that's permissible in poetry only, not in the Quran at all. Not in the Quran at all. So sakana, this is not the alif of aliful ithnain or alif of the two. No, this is aliful itlaq. So just for the necessity of the rhythm in the poem, he released the fatha by extending it and adding an alif. Okay? So in sakana means if it is sakin, means if the qalqala letter is sakin. So the first meaning here, make sure to clarify the qalqala letter if it has sukoon, right? Means when you're connecting that qalqala letter to something after it, when you're connecting that qalqala letter to something after it, pay attention to the qalqala. And how do you know that? How do you know that? Because he said in the next half, he said, وَإِن يَكُنْ فِي الْوَقْفِ كَانَ أَبْيَنًا. وَإِن يَكُنْ, and if it is, what is it? What is he talking about? وَإِن يَكُنْ, if it is, فِي الْوَقْفِ, in the case of stopping, كان أبين. It should be clearer. يلا. وإن يكن, if it is, what is he talking about here? The qalqala letter itself. إن يكن means the qalqala letter if it is. In في الوقف, in the case of waqf, in the case of stopping, كان, that letter of qalqala should be أبين. كان أبين means أوضح. أبين means أوضح, means clearer. Okay, same thing with أبين. أبين, it should be like this. Should be like this. أبين. أوضح. He also released the alif or released the fatha by adding alif al-itlaq again for the necessity of the rhythm. Okay. So that is the first meaning. Anyone can repeat for me the meaning now from this line? Yalla guys. You're following? You're paying attention? I'll repeat one more time. Someone has to repeat after me. وَبَيِّنًا, make sure to clarify or to make it clear the qalqala letter when it has sukoon. In the case of connection. And when you stop on that qalqala letter, the qalqala should be clearer. So that is the general meaning of this line. Is it clear? Now the other meaning, brothers and sisters, here, وَبَيِّنًا مُقَلْقِلًا, بَيِّنًا مُقَلْقِلًا إِن سَكَنًا. Another narration of this verse. مُقَلْقِلًا. In this case, when we say بَيِّنًا مُقَلْقِلًا, يعني أنت حالة or حال كونك مقلقلا. So this word will be, instead of a sifa, as in the first case, it will be what? Hal. Means clarify while you are making qalqala. Means to the qalqala letters if they have sukun. So that is another way to understand this line with the kasra for the qaf. Okay? Okay. So here from this line we understand two things, or we understand one important thing, that there is qalqala that is clear and there is qalqala that is clearer. Tamam? There is qalqala that is clear and qalqala that is clearer. So who can tell me just from the line? What do we, when is the qalqala clear and when is it clearer?
It's clear. It's clear what's in the middle of the word. It's clearer when it's at the end of the word. Or yeah, in the end of the word.
Okay, so that is, you're close, but that is a common mistake that people make here. They say qalqala are two levels or two types, qalqala sughra and qalqala kubra. There is major qalqala and minor qalqala. Okay, that is right. When is the qalqala major or kubra and when is it sughra? They say if the qalqala letter is at the end of the word, then it is kubra. And when it is in the middle of the word, then it is sughra. And that is a common mistake and it's not right. Why? Imam Ibn Jazari, he said, rahimahullah, what? وَإِن يَكُنْ فِي الْوَقْفِ. If you stop on the qalqala letter, okay, if you stop on the qalqala letter, it is clearer. Well, what if I have a qalqala letter at the end of the word and I don't stop on it? Then it is clear, not clearer. So the point is not when the qalqala letter is at the end of the word or not, it is when you stop on that qalqala letter or you don't stop. That is the criterion for the two levels of qalqala. Okay? And we'll come to the examples. So, first thing, brothers and sisters, let's take an example here before we move on. We're gonna have the examples again. Let's say قد أفلح. Okay, قد أفلح. The dal has sukoon, right? So we have to say qad. Now, is the dal at the end of the word? Yes. So is this qalqala major or minor? Ya Mustafa. Is the qalqala here on the dal, is it kubra or sughra?
Sughra.
Sughra. How do we know? What's the criteria?
It's like it's you don't like stop on it, you continue. So you say قد أفلح أنا قد.
So the point is you should ask me, are you stopping on it or connecting it? Right?
So if nobody stops قد.
No, you can stop if you're out of breath, right? So you could say قد, or for testing, you can say قد. So if we stop on the qalqala letter, then that is qalqala kubra. Means what, kubra? We're not gonna put like extra emphasis. No. We're not gonna make like qalqala stronger qalqala, as some people say. No. All the issue is that when you stop on the letter, that letter will be clearer. Okay? If you stop on any letter, when you stop on it, it will be clearer than when you connect it and it becomes like in the middle of some other letters. Right or no? Right? So the point of qalqala kubra and sughra is not something stronger than another. No, it is about what is clearer. When you stop on the qalqala letter, the qalqala will be clearer. You're not going to do extra effort. No, you're doing the same thing, but it comes clearer for the hearing. Why? Because you're stopping on it and it's standing out clear from other letters. So, excuse me, if we say qad, that's qalqala kubra. But if we connect, ya sister Ali, if we say qad aflah, even though the dal here at the end of the word, still that is qalqala sughra, minor qalqala, because we're connecting. We're not stopping on the qalqala letter. So as if the dal here became in the middle of a long word. Tamam? When you say, look, which is clearer? When you say qad or qad af, which one is clearer? The first one, because you're stopping on the qalqala letter. Got it? Any question before we move on? Tamam, Anse?
Sheikh, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
So for like another example, for example, like فَتَعَالَ اللَّهُ الْمَلِكُ الْحَقُّ, would you say like حَقُّ or حَقُّ?
We'll come to this now. We're coming to it.
Oh.
So that is same. That is you're stopping on it, obviously, because if you're gonna connect it, there's no qalqala at all because the qaf will have a haraka. But there, when you're stopping, that is qalqala kubra, major qalqala, right? And it has a special way you have to do it because you have a mushaddad letter. You have a shadda. So you're gonna say ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقُّ. ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقُّ. Okay? You're not gonna say ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقُّ. Of course not. By consensus of the scholars and the reciters, you must here show the shadda. Okay? Just like watab, right? And we're gonna come to that. But there are some common mistakes there. We're gonna inshallah point them out. So بين مقلقلا إن سكن يعني حالة الوصل ويدل عليه قوله. Okay? Okay. Remember also that we apply qalqala only if the letter has sukoon. This is something we can benefit from here, from the line. He says, make it clear or make sure to clarify the qalqala if the qalqala letter has sukoon. And this reminds us what we mentioned about sifat al-huruf, that all of sifat of the letters, all of the attributes of the letters, they are permanent to the letters. They accompany the letters in all of their cases or conditions, whether they are sakin or mutaharrik, except for the qalqala, right? Qalqala is applied only when the qalqala letters qutbu jadd, when they have sukun. This is why he said in sakana. But there's something I also mentioned there when I talked about sifat. Anyone remember?
Sheikh Abdullah.
Tfaddali.
I always feel that I'm not strong in qalqala, especially in harf الطاء. I don't know how to keep it like mufakham, strong, and same time bringing qalqala.
Let's read the example. Now we'll come to that. Let's say, for example, yato. Let's say yatlub, for example. Can you say that word? Yatlub. Can you try to say this word?
يطلب.
Say it.
يطلب.
تمام. بس make the lam lighter.
Okay. يطلب. يطلب.
يطلب. Say it.
يطلب.
Again.
يطلب.
تمام. And try to touch the gum well so that you don't let breath with the ta, right? The ta is what?
Yes.
doesn't have.
Yeah, فيها شدة. نعم.
Doesn't have hams, right?
يلا. No, it doesn't have.
يطلب.
يطلب.
خلاص تمام. That's right. Okay.
بس بيكون درجة التفخيم فيها كويسة.
Right. It depends. Now, when it has sukun, this is the third level of tafkhim. When it has fatha, this is the second level. When it has fatha followed by alif, it's the first level. So it depends on the haraka, right? When you say ta, different from yato, right? It's a little bit heavier when it has fatha or fatha.
لما تكون في when it has the sukun, it's in the fourth level of تفخيم من المذهب
in the fourth level, right. I said the third, you're right. The fourth level, exactly.
Yeah.
The dhamma first, then sukun, exactly. Right, barakallah fiki. Yes,
yeah.
Fatha with alif, then fatha, then dhamma, then sukun. Exactly, that's the fourth level.
So I will not kill myself like to making the tafkhim like really.
No, yeah, it's right. It's right. يطلب. Yeah, it's normal. Take it easy.
Different when it has like the fatha and
yeah, that's normal. Right.
Okay, jazakallah khair. Yeah,
barakallah fikum. Okay, now let's move on to. So this is the line. The meaning is very clear. From this line, we learned that the qalqala is applied only when you have sukun, and we learn also that there are two levels of qalqala. Please, brothers and sisters, pay attention to this common mistake. Major qalqala, when we stop on the qalqala letter. Minor qalqala, when we connect the qalqala letter, even if it's at the end of the word, still it could be minor. So the criteria is not whether the qalqala letter is at the end of the word or no, it's whether you stop on that qalqala letter or not. When you stop on it, that it will be clearer and the sifa will be clearer. Something similar to this I mentioned about sifat al-huruf, if you guys remember, and I want to see who can remember this. I said sifat of the letters apply to the letters in all of their cases. For example, when we have hams for the ta, right? When we say, for example, bakat, fama bakat, hams for the ta, right? Do we also have hams for the ta when it has haraka? Like, for example, تطلع. Do we have hams on that ta? What do you think?
بظل فيها همس لكن تضعف كثير.
أيوة. So that's what we mentioned, guys. Exactly as sister said. So sifat apply to the letters. We mentioned this. This is just a reminder. Sifat apply to the letters in all of their cases. But, of course, except for the qalqala. We already mentioned that. But the sukun makes the sifa clearer. Okay, that's something similar to what we're talking here about the qalqala. Right, ya Sheikh Mustafa? You got that? So the sifa, the sukun makes the sifa clearer. Okay? Now qalqala, all the Arabs don't make qalqala in our time. None of the Arabs make qalqala in their daily speech, day-to-day talk. They don't. This is why we have to make takalluf. We have to force ourselves to apply the qalqala. Even if it sounds artificial, we have to do it when we recite the Holy Quran. Also, another very important point. We explained all these, by the way, when we talked about sifat al-huruf. This is, again, reminder before we move on. Very important reminders about qalqala. Qalqala should never be accompanied with any haraka or even a smell of a haraka, as we say. Okay? Qalqala is bouncing. Just when you bounce the ball, you have the ball, you bounce it, and it touches exactly the same place, right? That's what qalqala is. You bounce the letters, and you can go back to the definition of qalqala. Even in English, when you see the definition of bouncing, it tells you that you touch exactly the same place and reflects the same place exactly. Now some people, some sheikhs out there in some Arab countries, they teach their students that qalqala should be accompanied with part of a haraka. For example, you say qadi, 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 and I hear some sheikhs in Egypt, they say it very clear, qadi, qadi, qadi. You see, you hear part of the kasra. That's absolutely not right. Qadi aflaha, qadi aflaha. And this is one thing. Another thing, they tell them it depends on the haraka before the qalqala letter. So if the haraka before the qalqala letter is fatha, for example, the qalqala should be accompanied with some fatah. If it is kasra, it should be accompanied with some kasra. That has no foundation in the books of tajweed, number one. And when we say the books of tajweed, of course, we're not talking about a book of tajweed that has been just written by someone lived in the 20th century. Obviously not. We go to the references, we go to the reliable sources of tajweed, right? So you will never find this, brothers and sisters, in any source of the tajweed rules that mentioned qalqala should be accompanied with any haraka or part of a haraka, number one. Number two, in the oral transmission from our sheikhs, we never heard that you have to accompany the qalqala with any haraka or part of the haraka. Number three, the definition of qalqala itself in Arabic, it's against adding anything to it. They say the Arabs taqalqalat al-qidr. The pot, as we mentioned before, the pot is shaking. When it shakes, it's shaking in its place. It's not gonna walk, right? So that is again from the Arabic definition of qalqala. Finally, in tajweed, we have something called raum or ikhtilas. And in Hafs narration, we have only one word that has raum or ikhtilas, which is ta'manuna, right? In which you show part of the haraka. Ta'manuna. And instead of saying ta'manu, ta'manu in Surah Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, instead of saying ta'manu, ta'manuna, you pronounce part of the dhamma. Ta'manuna. So that is raum. There's another way, which is ishmam, to read that word ta'manna. So pronouncing part of the also, by the way, in Hafs narration, at the end of the words, when you stop, also you can do raum, which is what? And raum only in dhamma and kasra, which is what, ya Sheikh Mustafa? What is raum? You remember you asked me about this in one of the classes? Raum. No, what is raum? When you stop on any word in Hafs narration, you can do waqf with full sukoon, and you can do ishmam, and you can do raum, right? When do we do raum? When can we do raum?
It was like, you know, if tanween, like for example, inna Allah bi kulli shay'in alimu.
So what do we do? It's in the case of dam and kasr only, dam and kasr. What do we do? We pronounce part, like a third of the haraka. Okay, and this is not common, of course, yani among people, but as teachers, you have to know that. As ijaza candidates, you have to know that. For example, al-mustaqim, ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, or let's say here mustaqima, or let's say sirat mustaqim, mustaqimin. If it is mustaqimin, you stop, you can say sirat mustaqim, full sukoon. Or you can make raum, which means pronounce part of the kasra. Mustaqimi, mustaqimi, right? So this concept of pronouncing part of the haraka, it is there in tajweed. So the scholars never mentioned like you make qalqala with raum or qalqala with ikhtilas. Never ever they mentioned this. So this is a summary of this mistake. I hope that you're aware of it. And Sheikh Ayman mentioned also, and I told you also, I heard it also, adding part of the haraka to the qalqala, it might make the meaning really, it might really change the meaning, and in some cases it gives really a very awful meaning. Sheikh Ayman was hearing in one of the Quran competitions, and one of the reciters, he was saying, فَدَعُوا اللَّهَ. He's not applying the qalqala correctly. He's adding part of the fatha to the qalqala letter. That changed the meaning from فَدْعُوا, look at the difference. فَدْعُوا اللَّهَ and فَدَعُوا اللَّهَ. The first meaning means فَدْعُوا اللَّهَ, pray to Allah. The second meaning, فَدَعُوا اللَّهَ, means leave Allah. This is slight difference in not applying the qalqala. It made this big meaning. So Sheikh Ayman, because this is really a very wrong meaning in the competition, even though usually they don't do that, they don't correct the competitors, right? Yeah, Sheikh Imran, they say competitors. Even though they don't correct them usually in the competitions, he stopped him and he said this, and he corrected him and he said, we're not supposed to do the qalqala this way. I also heard another example. Some people, and instead of saying khalaq, you see, they say khalaq. So it changes from we created the human being to khalaqanal, that the human being created us, which is of course blasphemy. It's a very wrong meaning. So I don't mean by this to frighten my dear brothers and sisters of reading the Quran, but I mean to pay attention and to get the knowledge from the right source, and not to just follow any person or any book of tajweed out there. You have to be careful and take knowledge from the right source and avoid this mistake. Qalqala should not be accompanied by any haraka or even a smell of a haraka or part of a haraka. Is that clear? So let's take some other examples. Okay, all that is done. Okay, let's now read the examples. Let's read the examples. All the points, I think I covered all the points. Let's read the examples. So qalqala kubra, when we stop on the qalqala letter. So we don't say when the qalqala letter is at the end of the word. No. When you stop on the qalqala letter, that is qalqala kubra, major qalqala. Yalla, let's read the examples one by one quickly, please. Al-falaq. Let's read one example each. I'm going to read the examples, then I want you, excuse me, everyone read one example. Al-falaq. Al-falaq. Another common mistake, guys, here, don't make hamza with the qalqala. One of the sheikhs here, we were in the beginning of Aljazariyya also in the last course, and he told me they taught him in Saudi Arabia that qalqala should have hamza. So you say falaq, falaq, and I really struggled, me and him, we struggled until we fixed that mistake. Muhit, falaq, falaq. So that is a very also wrong mistake that we have to, very manifest mistake that we have to avoid as well. Yalla, let's start. Go ahead, ya brother Imran. Let's apply this qalqala for this word.
Al-falaq.
Very good. Okay, next word, muhit. Muhit. Hana? The sound was cut off. Again.
Muhit.
Again, it should be a little bit clearer.
Muhit.
Yalla. Kasab. Kasab. Mustafa.
Kasab.
Again.
Kasab.
Okay. Bahij. Bahij. Sister Ali.
Bahij.
Again.
Bahij.
Okay. Ahad. Ahad. Yalla, Imran.
Ahad.
Tamam. Now, Mustafa, we come to your words that you asked me about. حق. حق. Here, when the qalqala letter has a shadda and we're stopping, we have to have the sukoon first, حق, then make the qalqala, حق, then make the qalqala afterwards. Okay? For the second part. Okay? حق. حق. Here, some of the common mistakes is making long time, like ذلك اليوم الحق. Okay? And if you heard me before, maybe I made this mistake, you should discard it and not copy me on that. It should not. We should not leave a long space between the two qaf. Okay? So we say ذلك اليوم الحق. ذلك اليوم الحق. We try not to make long space between them, long time. ذلك اليوم الحق. وتب. وتب. ذلك اليوم الحق. Like this. ذلك اليوم الحق. Right? يلا مصطفى.
نعم شيخ.
ذلك اليوم.
ذلك اليوم الحق. ذلك اليوم الحق.
ذلك اليوم الحق.
ذلك اليوم الحق.
يلا هنا. وتب. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. وتب.
وتب.
No, you should show the shadda.
وتب.
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 The second ba is not coming clear enough. وتب. وتب.
وتب.
ماشي. يلا. ولا جدال في الحج. ولا جدال في الحج. حج. ولا جدال في الحج. يلا سيستر أم علي.
كمان مرة جيم هكا. الحج.
Again.
الحج.
الحج. الحج.
الحج.
تمام. أشد. أشد. ولعذاب الآخرة أشد. أشد. Any questions so far? Okay. ولا بد هنا من التركيز على الحروف المشددة. So Imam Ibn Jazari mentioned this, that when the qalqala letter has a shadda at the end of the word and we stop on it, we have to pay attention to that. Now qalqala sughra, as you can see, this is the definition that we have to know well about qalqala sughra. When the qalqala letter, look at this, how precise this sentence is. When the qalqala letter is in the middle of the word or the middle of the sentence, let's say. Okay? And why we said that? Look here, because the qalqala letter, as in this example, for example, يخرج من. يخرج من. يخرج من. The qalqala letter here is at the end of the word, but if we're connecting it, it's in the middle of the kalam, in the middle of the speech, in the middle of the sentence. So in this case, it will be sughra, not kubra. Okay? So let's read the examples. يقضي. يقضي. يطعم. I'm just going to read them quick for the sake of the time. يطعم. Okay. يطعم, or it's better to share them with you, right? Let me share them with you. Okay. يطعم. يطعم. يبصرون. يبصرون. وتجعلون وتجعلون يدخلون يدخلون. Now look here in this example, لينفق ذو. If I say لينفق لينفق, is this صغرى or كبرى يا مصطفى?
صغرى.
I'm saying لينفق.
Oh, you're just saying that. Okay, not connecting. كبرى.
Right? But if I say لينفق ذو لينفق ذو فق ذو, of course when you say فق ذو it's less clear than ينفق, right? That's the whole point of صغرى and كبرى. So even though here the qalqala letter is at the end, still it's qalqala صغرى because we're connecting. لينفق ذو سعة من سعته. Next example, ولا تشطط ولا تشطط واهدنا ولا تشطط واهدنا ولا تشطط واهدنا فانصب وإلى فانصب وإلى يخرج من يخرج من يخرج من قد أفلح قد أفلح قد أفلح. Okay, so all these examples are qalqala صغرى because we are either stopping, we are either reading the qalqala letter, or the qalqala letter is coming either in the middle of the word or in the middle of a sentence. So it's either in the middle of al-kalima or in the middle of al-kalam. Last line, let's finish the last line. Imam Ibn Jazari said, rahimahullah, after that. So do we have a video here about the qalqala? Yeah, so for the qalqala, we explained it in details before, and I showed you the videos of the qalqala and the pictures, and we spent good time on it in the sifat section. So we're not going to repeat that here. We explained all that, and there, if you go back to the class about qalqala, there's a whole class about qalqala. We showed by video how Sheikh Ayman, may Allah reward him and his team, how they made some videos, how you see the difference between the qalqala and with sukoon and the qalqala letters, if they're maftuhat or mushaddadat, etc. He explained all those, and we explained them already, and we mentioned today and reminded you of the main or the common mistakes about that. Let's finish this section. Then he said, rahimahullah ta'ala, وَحَاءَ حَصْحَصَ. Line 40 is the last line in this section. وَحَاءَ حَصْحَصَ أَحَطُّ الْحَقُّ وَسِينَ مُسْتَقِيمِ يَسْقُو يَسْقُو. So here he's saying, وَحَاءَ means what? And the ha of. And the ha of. So what about the ha of? Means also make tarqeeq. So here this word goes back to the first word in this section. What was the first word in this section? فرققا. Make sure to make light. What? مستفلا من أحرفي. The ahruf of istifal. And the ha is one of them. And the seen is one of them. So here he's emphasizing on that and adding to that. Another possibility, this waha'a could be maf'ul bihi, an object for the verb wabayyinan, which is in the previous line. Wabayyinan, make it clear, okay? But it's more likely to be an object of the first word in this section, which is faraqqiqan, make sure to make light. So make light and make it clear the ha in these words and the seen in these words, and every time they come, you have to make them light and clear. But these words are mentioned, Imam Ibn Jazari, subhanAllah, mentioned these words because really they are common mistakes. We see common mistakes that people make in these words. So, waha'a means the ha of hashasa. Basically here, because you have ha, then صاد, then ha, then صاد. So you have to make sure make it light. حص حصى الآن حص حصى الحق. الآن حص حصى الحق. Also الحق. الحق, not الحق, ha. الح. Here there is a slight mistake that some people do that we should pay attention to, which is what I heard some imams and I told them about this. لا تطول فتحة الحاء. So they say الحق حق. Do you notice what I'm doing? الحق. So they want to make the ha light, but they're stretching its fatha. That's not right. So pay attention to this mistake. So الآن حص حصل حص. See the صاد. الآن حص حصل الحق. أحط أح. Same thing. Not قال أحط أح. No. أح. Then you go to the ta. And this word will come again in another section. أحط. What do we have here, Ya Sheikh Mustafa? What's the rule here? In أحط.
إدغام ناقص.
إدغام ناقص. بارك الله فيك. Because we don't merge the ta completely into the ta, right? So we keep the إطباق of the ta, أحط, but without قلقلة. أحط. We start with the ta, end with the ta. أح. أحط. 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 Right? SubhanAllah, this word is an example that you can never learn the Quran by yourself, just by reading the Mus'haf. How will you figure out that this word is read this way? Impossible. There's no way to explain it by writing. You need to hear it and see how the Shaykh is reading it, right? أحط. أحط. Right? So, وحاء حصحص أحط الحق. وسين, the seen of مستقيم. 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 We don't say, as many students read اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. مست. It became like Mustafa, right? Yeah, Mustafa. It became like right? You have to make it seen. مستقيم. صراط مستقيم. مستقيم. Same thing. يسطو. يكادون يسطون. You don't say يسطون. No. يكادون يكادون يسطون. يسطون. يكادون يسطون. يسقو. Same thing. يسقون. He did not put the noon just for the necessity of the rhythm here. So instead of saying يسقون, he said يسقو. So فوجد عليه أمة من الناس ووجد عليه أمة من الناس يسقون. 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 أمة من الناس يسقون. So make sure you don't raise your lower lip. You don't say yes, yes, yes. Your lower teeth should be apparent and make it light. Yes, يسقون. Okay. That is the end of this section. Barakallah feekum. Jazakumullah khairan. Any question about anything we mentioned today? I think it's easy and clear, inshallah. If you want to get to know more about Qalqala, you can go back to the section on Qalqala, to the class on Qalqala, where you see the videos and more details. I think this is, inshallah, enough for us. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us recite his book in the way that pleases him and pleases his messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the same way we got it from our sheikhs back to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We pray to him subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us reflect on the meanings of the Quran and act upon them and teach them to others. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa
anta wa atubu ilayk. Jazakum Allahu khairan wa barakallahu feekum. No questions? Okay, alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.